So good afternoon and welcome. This webinar is an opportunity to speak with the founders of Projects in Prism, a new networking organisation which supports the enhancement of the project management profession, for the global majority project managers, ensure it is accessible on all levels, encouraging organisations to make it an approachable arena to thrive, grow and succeed. Today you'll find out why the organisation is being set up and how you can engage with it. A few housekeeping rules to start with. Microphones and cameras are off to avoid distractions, so please use the chat function as it will be an interactive session and we'll answer as many questions as we can. The webinar will be recorded and the link will be forwarded to you. My name is Dion and I'm the Membership Development Manager here at APM, and today I have the pleasure of being joined by the founders, Rosalind and Caroline. Rosalind is a mentor, membership assessor for the Association of Project Management, an experienced programme and portfolio management leader who has led transformational service improvement programmes in construction for over 20 years within the public, private and voluntary sectors. Her breadth of experience has given her an in-depth understanding of economic, commercial strategy development, operational strategy, leadership management tools and stakeholder engagement. She's an expert team and change leader, successful in implementing change and best practice to ensure smooth delivery using innovative, practical, communicative and collaborative styles to enable disparate stakeholder priorities to work cohesively. She's also a non-executive board member and trustee in 3 organisations spanning various sectors. Caroline is a highly experienced and professional executive and expert in the project and programme management of regeneration and development of urban areas, including public sector housing programmes, with over 25 years experience in planning and delivery of large-scale multi-phase and multi-million-pound public sector development projects, including housing and mixed-use developments, educational facilities, senior living and specialist supported living facilities. Caroline has established an impressive reputation as an expert project director and advisor to public sector house builders, with particular focus on providing high quality client focused support and that covers all areas of planning and delivery of a large scale multi-phase, multi-million-pound developments. So good afternoon, ladies, and welcome to you both.
Thank you, and thank you very much, Dion, and thank you everyone for joining. Really grateful you could spare the time. But before I go any further, I'd just like to give a warm thank you to Dion and her team at the APM for their support, as well as Grey Line Construction, again, for their support. We are ever so grateful to them and to all of you for taking the time out to listen to us today. Caroline.
Good morning, good afternoon even, everybody. And yes, to echo Rosalind's thanks to the APM, Grey Line, and to yourselves for making the time to join us this afternoon. And we hope that you will find this introduction to projects in Prism of interest. We certainly look forward to seeing a lot more of you join us in future events, and we'll hopefully give you a bit more information at the end as to how you can do that. Thanks, Ros.
Thank you. We'll start off. What we didn't want to do today was to go into a very long spiel about who we are. I know that Dion has given a bit of a flavour of our experience and our longevity in project management. So I'll skip over that and just go straight into the why. We are a diverse, inclusive, and we also embrace equality. One of the key things that we want to be very clear about is that this is not an organization just for Black women. It is an organization for women of a global majority. We want the space where we can laugh, cry, work, be challenged, stimulated, learn, but also provide an opportunity for us to grow in our careers, grow as women, understand what we as women need to do to become more successful, both emotionally, mentally, and physically. When I think about projects in Prism, I always think about this, I suppose, this leveler. When we as women from a diverse background come along into the workforce, we all share a common assumption. And the assumption is, I have a chance. However, along the way, things change. And whilst gender is a common denominator, there is the unfortunate and difficult truth that race and class are often the real wedges. And the aim of projects in Prism is to find a way to leverage the talents of the women we speak to so that they understand and know how to thrive in today's environment. It is also an opportunity for us to talk very frankly with organizations to help us and support us in doing so. And Caroline, over to you.
Yeah, I think, again, to add to what Ros is saying, this platform is, a space where we hope to come together, as global majority women, to celebrate as well our successes in project management, because I think it's right that we acknowledge that there have been successes and women have led some of those successes. Our intention is to work with you all to actually increase the number of those successes. And it's not about necessarily being succeeding, it's actually being given the opportunity and being enabled to put into action the skills that we know that we have as competent female project management professionals. So for us, the objective is to be able to support other female project managers through the experiences that we ourselves have gained in practice, through the exchanges that we've had with other female professionals, both in our sectors, which is housing, but beyond our sectors. So this platform isn't just for a particular sector or group, but what is common about it is it's project management in the round, regardless of what the sector that you're from. Your experiences are just as valid. We want to encourage broad exchange amongst us as a group, so that we can learn, from each other the different ways in which others have secured the success.
Thank you. On the screen, you can all see the vision for projects in Prism. We use the word demystify because in our experience, we have found that a lot of women from a global majority background who are interested in project management, first of all, didn't understand or know how to enter into the profession. And so that term is to enable the demystification of the profession and give it the approachability that it is accessible on all levels and explore the options across all levels, whether it is through apprenticeships, mentoring, providing education at a very basic skills level. We go into schools and we speak to them on many occasions around project management, and certainly for myself, it has been one of the most rewarding experiences because a lot of the young adults now beginning to understand that they have an opportunity to make a difference in whatever sector they choose to through project management. And that's really encouraging. And we want to continue doing that. Dion, would you mind just moving to the next slide, please? Thank you.
No problem. There we go.
we've titled this next slide "Hidden Figures," and this is the reality that we face on a daily basis. And we've provided some statistics just to provide the context. So I'll go through some of them very quickly. That out of 133 major projects currently listed on the UK government major projects portfolio, only 9 of them, 9% of around 22% of the appointed senior responsible officers are women. It is difficult to know within that number how many of them are from a global majority background, but it'd be a safe assumption to make that it wouldn't be a very high figure. Some of the feedback from women of a global majority in roles that span both from junior developer level all the way up to CIOs and CTOs have given feedback that they feel they have to work harder than colleagues to get recognition. And even through that and through their hard work, they are also, there is a perception of a more intense scrutiny by senior leaders. And yet that hard work remains unrewarded in terms of better roles and remuneration. So again, this is a consistent feedback that is being provided by women at various levels from a global majority background. Now, according to the GMB from last year's figures, it will take the construction industry approximately 200 years to achieve equality. Again, if you break that into its disparate parts, if we look at the what that means for global majority women, it is a safe assumption to make again that it might take considerably longer to achieve equality across the board. So these are the sorts of conversations and the context that we are working around. So the aim for projects in Prism, and we've touched on some of this already, is to create an inclusive space to network with women who are either considering embarking on a career in project management or are already on a path and would like to know what tools they can employ to succeed. And I'll deviate slightly just to talk about the launch of Projects in Prism on September 28th. And we'll provide some information at the end of this, and it will be on the website very shortly, to say that what we also intend to do is to provide material to attendees. In the case of the launch, there will be books handed out to all attendees on self-learning and self-management, how to use what you already have to harness talent and to hone it in a way that gives you what you need to succeed. The other objective for us is to provide emotional and mental nourishment. I spoke about what I consider to be the Holy Trinity for me, and that is, in order for you to be successful, there has to be an alignment between your mental, emotional, and physical state, and that encourages nourishment. It also helps when you have mentors to support you through the process. And I'm conscious that I've spoken on 2 of the aims. So Caroline, would you want to just take over and talk about the other 2, please? Thank you.
Yeah. So the other 2, it says there, so to change the narrative, really, which underpins our experiences as female project managers or as global majority female project managers. What we want is the slide that was shown before with some of the examples that we titled Hidden Figures. We want to change that narrative. We don't want, for it to continue in terms of that type of feedback that we get from women in project management who are made to feel inadequate, undervalued. That we need to change that story, and so that's one of the the aims of this this platform. I want to provide practical solutions to navigate real life workplace and career challenges, and these can be HR related issues, they can be project specific issues. Whatever they are, we want to be able to bring real life situations to this group, to this platform, and where you can benefit from the broad experience that we hope to garner through projects in Prism. Ross.
Thanks, Caroline. The next slide, please, Dion. Wonderful, thank you. And so, just to go through the format of our sessions, we plan to hold events every 2 months. The first one is on the 28th of September in central London. And as I said, the information around location will follow very, very shortly on the website. And there will be information on social media, which all of you can tap into. We thought about a central location just to maximize accessibility with regards to timings. We appreciate that it will be later in the evening, and we are mindful that we are asking you to share your evening with us. And so we are also very careful to make sure that it's somewhere that most people, if not all, can access. We are drawing our speakers from varying levels of seniority in their respective project management fields, but with a central theme. And the theme is to uplift, teach, guide, harness, mentor, and support attendees in their project management journey. There will be a central theme running through all our sessions, and that is to have roundtable discussions which stimulate and challenge, and ask you to think about your experiences and how you can learn from that, and also challenge some perceptions that you have that might need to be, I use the word challenged because that is the right word, but also to encourage an evolution of thought as we progress. I mentioned this previously, but I'll reiterate it. We intend to make sure that at every session, we hand out books and tools which will support the leadership journey, because we believe very strongly that it isn't really worth it if all we do is talk. We want to support the journey, support the process, and we also intend to get the writers of these books to join us. We will be having the writer of the first book that we hand out, who will be attending the first session in September, and who will be supporting us by facilitating discussions and sharing nuggets from her book, which will help everyone a great deal. Caroline, over to you.
I think actually I'd quite like to repeat what you said there about uplifting, teaching, harnessing. It's really about edifying. So it's about you come here, hopefully you come to the group and you leave enriched in multiple ways by each other. But I think it's also important, the point Ros raises about the speakers that we hope to bring to the platform, and they will be varied and we will reach far and wide. And Ros has already given me a challenge to secure a speaker for the second event that we're going to have. And so, when I say it's a challenge, it is a challenge, but we will meet it. But the whole point is to be able to provide people who have had, what we consider to be really valuable experience, and bring those lessons to bear to this group, so that you go away having learnt from the best. But come and be edified, come and be fed, come and be nourished.
Thank you. All right, Dion, next slide, please. Okay. we hope that this has given you a taste of what Projects in Prism is about, what we stand for, and what we hope to achieve with your support, because we certainly can't do it without you. And so we are just, I suppose, as an aside, it's worth speaking about the organizations that we intend to speak with to support us in the process. And as I mentioned, we are looking for pragmatic support that ensures that as well as being nourished emotionally, physically, and mentally, there is also the practical element of it. And that is looking at job opportunities, career opportunities. Those are things which also resonate. So we're looking at a very holistic process, right, of supporting both new and existing project managers. And we hope that you are able to join us for the launch in September, and you spread the word, speak to colleagues who you think will benefit from a conversation with us. There will be contact details which follow this slide, and we will also make sure that the information is available and accessible on the APM website.
Brilliant.
So, Dion, over to you for questions, if there are any.
I indeed have some questions, and if you do want to ask some questions, there's still time to put some in there. Firstly, I've had a question: will there be any virtual meetups as well if people can't make it to central London? I mean, obviously, I know it's very early days, but are you planning to do any virtual meetups in the future?
That's a really good question. And the answer is yes, because we are realistic enough to know that we have to cater across the board for people who are unable to make the journey. But what I will say is the first one will be a face-to-face session, but watch this space because there will be virtual sessions coming very shortly. So thank you for that question.
No problem. And I've had a question of, is active APM membership a requirement for this?
No, it isn't, because there are a lot of people who are interested in project management who don't have APM membership yet. The aim is to get them on track to becoming a project manager and then taking them through the process by which they can do so.
Fantastic. Savannah's put a really good question of, thank you for the presentation. Does this cover just PMs or other roles working within the project environment? I lead an engagement team who work on major projects who would be very interested.
The answer is a very categorical yes, actually. We are here to support everyone within the project management space, and that is a very broad space. So yes, please get them to sign up to our sessions, have a chat, send emails if they wish, contact us if they have any questions, or join our sessions.
Brilliant.
It's just to add, it's not just about major projects, and as I said in the introduction, again, it's not just about development, which is the field that Ross and I are in. It could be IT. So the example that you give there about engagement is absolutely right, because project management, as Ross says, is so broad, so diverse. I project manage my family every day, you know, and so it is when I have two daughters and they ask me, well, you know, what is project management? I said, you know, in almost anything, there is project management. Everything that needs to be managed will need somebody responsible for it, somebody who can pull together a team, whether it's engagement, whether it's building a plane, whether it's building a hospital. And so, yeah, I think the more diverse, actually, we can encourage people to bring examples, the better.
Fantastic.
And just sorry, Dion, just to build on what Caroline's saying, it is our intent as we progress to speak with organizations from different sectors to support us through this process. So the question of industry is, I suppose for this conversation, mostly relevant because it covers every sector you can think about, every and any sector. You have an element of project management or its variances within that sector.
And I was going to say as well, most people in their day-to-day roles will touch on project management, even if they're only on the periphery. And if they want to get more involved, this is something they can come to actually pursue that part of their career, isn't it, and move it on a bit.
Absolutely, absolutely, it is.
Fantastic. Is this open to existing project program managers that wish to refine their skills and or their network?
Yes, it is.
I thought that was going to be a definite yes.
For us to exclude anyone from this, as long as it falls under the category of project management, then yeah, exactly.
It is, and that's why we speak about every level, because we want to make sure that projects in Prism is accessible to all, and you don't feel in any way intimidated by either a level of seniority or being the attainability of any project management qualifications. If you're thinking about project management, this is for you. If you have a thought about where you want to go and this is a consideration, come along to have a chat with us.
Kind I was going to say, I just wonder if you could maybe touch a little bit on some of the barriers that you've faced yourselves, to kind of almost reassure the people coming along of how you can help them and what you've gone through yourselves, if you don't mind sharing that with us.
Yes, okay. So one of the things that I will say first of all is that 25, 30 years ago, the notion of mentoring someone who either looked like me or who could understand some of my challenges was very, very slim. And organizations were trying very hard to find a way to communicate and work with us. And I have found, both through lived experience and through observation, and also through myself being a leader, that having an opportunity to talk to somebody who could be struggling, as I was when I started my career, is really, really key. So one of the barriers that I can recall vividly was, I should say, being able to speak to someone about what I wanted to do with my career and how to go about climbing the career ladder. I found that very, very difficult and very frustrating, because at times I was led in a direction that I didn't want to go. But because I couldn't find anyone to speak with about giving me the support, I found myself being led in that direction because I thought at the time it was the place or the thing to do. So there is that. Apart from the fact that it can be demotivating, it also causes you in some way to doubt your own abilities. Again, something that organizations today are trying very hard to overcome. But at that time, very, very little, if any, support was given. So there is that. Again, through climbing through the ladder, you have situations such as, I think I mentioned some of it in our presentation. You work very hard, but then you are either overlooked without understanding why, and therefore you're not quite sure how to progress or improve. And there is a perception that you should know it, but the reality is sometimes you just don't. because as I mentioned in my introduction, we enter into the workforce on a level playing field of, yes, this is wonderful. I've now gone to uni, I've come out of uni, and now this is what I want to do. But it doesn't quite work that way all the time. And that's why we're having these sorts of conversations, is to provide a path that can be relatable to most women, if not all. Caroline.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, some of the challenges that I've had, I've been in you know, sort of leading major projects for a number of years now. When I came into the industry, I experienced something which unfortunately I think we still experience, but perhaps not to the same degree. But I existed in spaces where genuinely nobody looked like me. And I found that as a young project manager growing up, I found that very difficult and extremely challenging, as Ross says, just not having somebody you know, to go and talk to about perhaps some of the challenges that we experienced in those somewhat hostile spaces. The other biggest challenge that I've experienced over the years is actually just not being given the credit for the very good work that I've done over the years, where, you know, I've had experiences where, you know, working alongside a colleague, a male colleague, you know, for on a particular project which I led, was successful. Somehow the credit was taken away from me, and, you know, and given to somebody else. Other experiences is not being actually allowed to sit at the top table, if I can call it that. It's okay to be the one that's doing the work. And I think as one of the points that was made in the hidden figures slide, because you're good at doing what you do, where you're doing it, it's almost seen as a safe place to leave you, because actually you're doing it quite well. So let's not upset that apple cart. Let's get somebody else in perhaps to oversee something that you've actually been doing really quite well yourself for a number of years. So, you know, those are sort of ongoing challenges, but it's that not being given the credit, you know, for what you do and what you do successfully. And that credit isn't just about saying, oh, well done, a pat on the back. But that credit is actually saying we'd like to consider you for a more senior role, and those opportunities never really been coming forward. You know, and something else which unfortunately I still do hear when and this wasn't so long ago, and it happened to myself as a senior project director, being in a meeting, and as the one of the very few female in these spaces, being mistaken for the person that's taking the minutes. But actually, no, I'm the one that's leading the project, and I deserve that recognition as the person that's leading the project. And it's not good enough actually that I get mistaken for the person that's taken the minutes. And that's part of that narrative that we want to change, because it's high time that these sorts of stories and these sorts of examples actually just stopped, you know, and no longer existed. But it continues. Roz and I are, you know, in different capacities supporting other rising talents, certainly within our sector, who are experiencing and expressing similar sorts of stories about the challenges that we faced. We're in 2023, you know, and we will change that narrative. I think we are certainly on a mission to change that narrative. But I am in a place where I'm certainly more confident as a programme director to take my credit, actually, where it's due. And that's because of the confidence that I have developed as a programme manager over the years, and because of the excellent mentors that I've had over the years as well, who have literally taught me how to do it, taught me how to make sure that I can project my voice in a meeting, even though I'm being talked over.
Yeah.
So those, yeah, some of the sorts of challenges, Dion.
I was going to say that
sorry, Dion, please carry on.
I was going to say that there's a really lovely point that's been made. Well, it's a really sad point, but it really just illustrates why there's a need for this organisation. It's Erin's put here. For me, I have often found I can't be my authentic self, as I've come from a disadvantaged background and significant poverty, to finding myself amongst the middle class and people who didn't recognise my background or actively discriminated against people like me, which has made me hide and change my accent, being extremely guarded and masking in general. Thankfully, I'm becoming more and more like my authentic self now, but still lacking confidence in certain circles, which is not the way it should be. I mean, recognising diversity of thought and the diversity of background and bringing the richness into organisations, you know, organisations are missing out on those values, and it's just, people shouldn't have to hide who they are at work.
It is an unfortunate reality that in order for you to cope and to be seen as being part of the team, you do have to rein in your authentic self. And I think one of the strongest for Caroline and myself, certainly, points that led us to create this network organization is the fact that we do not want to hide who we are. It is mentally exhausting having to be two different people, and for reasons that are still to this day very unclear. There is nothing stopping you from being as successful as you want to be, being yourself. The fact that society wants you to hide that bit is the reason why we have this organization, and we are intending to do so by challenging these existing practices in a way that is that there's a term for this existing status quo called the masculinization of the workplace. And so it is very much around stepping aside from this notion that you have to be quiet, you have to hide, you have to subsume a part of yourself because you want to succeed. And even when you do all these things, the likelihood is you won't be given that success. And that's the reality. It's about this notion that you have to be given success as opposed to having to earn it, which every woman, whether you are an expert or not, has a talent which should be nurtured to ensure that you grow and you are able to contribute. And that's all this is about. It's about equity, given the opportunity for you to thrive in. And that's what this is going to achieve, is providing that opportunity as much and as globally and as wide as we can.
I think that point about bringing your authentic self, or not being able to bring your authentic self, the industry misses out and loses out on so much, where we are not able to bring our whole selves into a space, into our work, into a situation where we're having to code switch, where we feel that we have to dress a certain way or not dress a certain way to be respected, to be taken seriously, to be accepted. And so, I am a very, very different person today than I was when I started in the sector, and than I was even 10 years ago. My dress sense has actually changed from what it used to be, and that has been through that growth in confidence. But I think what we're saying is that you, as those that are young coming into the profession, you don't have to go through what we've been through. We've gone through quite a lot of it, a bit of it for you. And so You know, you don't have to dress like a man, you know, to sit in a boardroom and to be taken seriously. You know, you don't have to wear your hair in a certain way to be respected for the your lived experience and the contribution that you bring to that table. You know, it has, yes, it's all come as a result of experiences for us, and you know, things have changed, thankfully, but there is a lot more change to happen. But don't be afraid to bring your whole self. If you ever find that you are not bringing your whole self into a space, it's not the right space for you. You really do need to stop and evaluate why that is, and should I even be here in the first place? If the answer is a yes, fine. How do we change that space so that others coming into that don't experience it? It's always about looking at how we improve it for the next person and the next person. You know, because as I say, whilst things have improved for us, we are here recognizing that we want to change it for everybody else that's coming through behind us.
Fantastic. Nikita's just put a message on saying thank you for sharing your experiences. I'm sure quite a few of us can resonate with them, and I think that is definitely the feeling that's going on there. Question from Lauren, a bit more of a practical question. Will the links to the website be shared and the event information?
Yes.
Yes.
We will be sharing the links. We will provide the details of our LinkedIn platform, hopefully at the end of this session. So we will upload this event on LinkedIn along with other really useful information. It's fairly new, but it is there. So go on and have a look.
And can I just say, bear with us if you log on and you can't find it, just give us a few days and come back. We are putting a lot of information out, and we want to make sure that it's accurate and accessible.
And I was going to say as well that everybody who's registered for this webinar will actually get an email with all the links to it and everything on there as well, once everything is all fully live. So you will actually get an email with that on, which again, you're welcome to share with colleagues and everything like that, as well as a link to the recording of this. I've come to the end of the questions, unless anybody's got any last minute ones. Just a kind of final few words from you both, if you don't mind, before we wrap up.
The most important thing for me with this organization is providing the support for those who need it and are able to spread the word to colleagues who can't access it. We are really, really grateful to have experienced what we have and are able to harness that information in a way that is and can help the next generation. And we're looking forward to doing a lot of that. And we are also grateful to, again, the APM and to all of you for the time that you've given up to hear us speak about Projects in Prism and to ask the questions that are pertinent and are questions that are real about what you're experiencing in the workplace and in the world at the moment. So we are excited as a 4-year-old in a Batman costume who thinks that he can change the world. And we are optimistic that we will do our fair share of doing that. So thank you.
I think the excitement is, Ros took the words right out of my head. I'm really what we can do. I'm excited because I love project management. I love this area of work. I love the discipline, and I'm good at it. And I know that there are lots of us that are really good at it. And don't lose sight of that. You know, come and join us for our launch. We really look forward to seeing as many of you there as possible. Yes, it's a face-to-face launch, but as Ros has said, we will also be having some virtual events. But it would be really nice to see as many of you as possible. And the success of this platform will be dependent on how well you all engage with it. So we really do welcome you to Projects in Prism.
Fantastic. I just wanted to say a huge thank you to both for joining me today. And I am personally, as a woman working in business, very excited by this, because there's so much that needs to change. So much has got better, but so much still has changed. And you're both a real inspiration. And I wanted to say a personal thank you.
Thank you. As Caroline has said, we love what we do. We're excited by it, and we want to share that excitement with as many people as we can.
Excellent. Well, brilliant. Well, thank you very much, everybody. Well, end that there. And like I said, the details will be sent to you. You will have all the links to the event and everything sent to you. Have a good rest of the day, everybody.
Have a good day. Thank you, everybody.